Living Earth Tribe. Do you want to find personal freedom? Do you want more personal freedom? One way to find it is to stop caring what people think. Stay tuned and we'll discuss it. All right, welcome to Rick Boiardi, World Builder, Warrior Academy. Tonight's topic, and I'm in the East Coast in Boston, so it's nighttime here, but it is freedom and the best way to find it. And in my opinion, one way to find freedom is to stop caring what people think, okay? Now, that sounds it's easy to say that, and people hear those words and go, yeah, sure. But in reality, it's a little bit different because we've all grown up in this world, and this world is the way it is. So a little background to that comment. One is, you and I have all experienced freedom to a degree, depending on what country you're in, but we've also experienced the control factor, the system we live in. And to give you a big picture, if you think about this, right? The world is controlled by business, and business is chasing debt, okay? They're looking for revenue, they're looking for profit. It's all funded by debt. It's funded by banks. The banks are owned, the central banks are owned. They are privately owned banks. And there's a couple things to this, and I'm giving you all the pieces that you understand the world we live in and why it is so important that you find a way to bring out the flame of creativity, the gift you have. Okay, so there's these banks. They create this money, this thing called currency, okay? And there's these things called governments. And the governments, you elect these people, you vote for them in some countries, and that's the last choice you have. They go and they do whatever the F they want with whoever the F they want. And they create debt, they sell bonds within that country, and now the country owes the bank interest. You and I, we might not have chose that. We might agree with where some of that money's going. We might not, but we don't have a hell of a lot of choice. So what you've got is a bunch of people who create and run businesses, and they've got an objective. They've got to enhance their revenue, make it as high as possible, control costs, bring a return to the investors, and stay ahead of that debt. Now you're paying off, you're part of that. You're part of a team, wherever you work, you're paying off debt, and you're also paying taxes on everything you do, everything you touch and breathe and see, and that is also there to pay off the interest, not the principal. It doesn't get that far. And so what I'm saying is, there's a whole system that keeps churning and churning and churning, and it's, each decade it's become more global, and a lot of the freedoms that people had in days past are going away because everything's so globalized. So, if there's profit to be squeezed in another country, their culture is different. Whoever that shot caller is, it goes in there and sets up the rules and maybe buys off us politicians like the economic hitman do. Thanks. That's a Jonathan Perkins book. Those countries will now create a culture where that debt has to be satisfied, and you and I and all the citizens are the ones who pay it. So when you hear the word, don't care what people think, it sounds easy, but you've got a lifetime of conditioning to not do that. I mean, think about schools when you're a kid. You've got to play by the rules. In today's schools, they have their entire funding depends on test results, and those test results require teachers teach it very boxed and very rigid, and there's no room for independent thought. You've got to get the funding. So, I went to school in an earlier era where, teachers still wanted to bring that out in you. For a lot of the teachers, they would talk to you about that. Like, you've got this gift. It'd be great to bring this out. They were very, they were like mentors. But there was also, I'm in the U.S., but I know some of my friends, like back in England, they talk about just how rigid the schools were and how it was just shut these kids up and just put them through the meat grinder. So there is a dark reality of that, and you don't think people are afraid to step off or out of bounds in that world. Well, they are, because you get excommunicated from your own tribe. It's very close for a lot of people to being homeless or a loss of their careers. And look, I know I'm saying a lot of dark things here, but that's a dark reality. It's part of what this channel is to show you reality, pull the curtain back, let you see what's there, and then we talk about ways and opportunity to improve this world. Because if we don't improve this world right now, we're toast. So when you stop caring about what people think, it's a brave choice, and you are working with the energies inside of you to bring out those gifts. There's more ability, and it's gonna start to come out. And literally the universe, which is infinite intelligence, infinite size, endless, it starts to work with you. Now, people will call that God or all the different names for gods. I'm just saying universe in terms of this infinite, eternal intelligence and love vibration that I believe is the source of everything. But I also believe that there is a dark side that's in conflict with this. And, so many different topics, so much stuff in our world today literally comes down to just that. You can see it in everything. So is it the end, or is this an opening? I'm gonna take it as an opening. And emotions. People are afraid to feel emotions in this world because it is so enormously scary right now. But you have to feel what you need to feel. You need to process those personal things in your life. There's a reason for that. And emotion is simply energy in motion. If you don't process it, it's static. It doesn't move. You're trapped at a certain level. When you start telling yourself, I don't care what people think, and the older you get, the easier it is to understand that. Like when you're 19, you want to be part of your group. It is a matter of life and death. You do not want to be considered outside of what is popular. But when you get older and you've worked for a while and maybe you've raised a family, different adult things that you try out in your life, all of a sudden you start going, wait a minute, F this. I'm gonna say what I need to say because the world needs to hear it. It needs to hear my voice, needs to hear your voice, needs to experience my gifts, needs to experience your gifts. So let's start thinking like that. That it doesn't mean you become a lunatic and you just blurt out anything at any moment. I don't care what people think, so I'm going to be a complete animal. It's more of a decision to be that way, and then like an animal on the hunt, You see these things, you assess them, and you say, I'm going to bravely do this because this is my calling, because there's 7 billion people, brothers and sisters, dependent on me being brave, just like I'm dependent on you and you and you and you, all of you being brave. So we've got the numbers, we've got 7 billion people that can all be creators to make something better out of what we got now. We are on the cusp of, in so many ways, financially, biologically lately, military, climate, food, air, just everything. Our culture is at a point where it's got to change. And when I say our culture, I mean our tribe, our human tribe. Yes, there are people running the show. In my opinion, they likely are a serious dark force behind this. I mean, look at the Vatican, for example. But I also believe that there is a force of light. And I see examples of it every day, everywhere. So, marching orders. Start training yourself to not give an F what people think, but be smart about it. And we will start building something new, okay? A better you, a better me. Global transformation is here and now. So let's do this thing. Peace and love. Take care.